All right, so today I am going to tackle a job that honestly I really don't want to do. Um, but let me talk a little bit about it. So this is where the chain plates attach to this boat. This is the Precision 16. So I've taken that off and there's two holes here. And so the hull comes up from the bottom and it like bends down, there's a little lip, and then the deck comes around here. And so the deck hull joint is down here and it's a vertical joint. And the problem here is that this deck flexes way, way, way too much. I want to be able to appropriately tension my shrouds, especially since, it's single shroud on either side. And with this flexing deck, there's no way I can do that. And so I really was hoping not to have to do this repair, but I'm gonna have to. So the other side is nice and stiff, and the way that it is nice and stiff is that there's a fiberglass patch underneath here that was applied, and it goes from about here to about here, and then comes down about 3 inches down onto the hull. And so a previous owner applied that extra fiberglass. And so, after looking at it and thinking about it, I thought about like maybe coming up with a big metal bracket under here, like a larger backing plate or something like that. Or maybe if there was a void in between these two pieces, I could fill it with epoxy, but there's no void. It's very thin right here. And so, yeah, I think the only way I'm gonna be able to stiffen this thing up is to lay in some extra glass, just make it thicker. And so, this is not really in my wheelhouse. Things that require patience and precision are not things that I'm typically very good at. And so, applying fiberglass, I've watched some YouTube videos on it now. It doesn't look super hard, but it's just something that, for me is not really something that I'm super comfortable doing. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give it a try. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. So what I ended up doing for this repair is I found this at Ace Hardware, which is actually what gave me the idea, because I wasn't sure that I would be able to find the kinds of supplies that I need here in Colorado. But this is a Bondo fiberglass repair kit. It's for cars, RVs, and boats. And so it comes with a 24-inch by 18-inch little piece of glass for minor repairs, which is all I'm gonna need. I'm gonna try and do maybe 3 layers of glass, and it's only gonna be, maybe 6 inches by, 10 inches or something like that. So, I'll be able to figure that out once I open this up. I haven't even opened it yet. And then be able to start cutting the glass and everything. But my first task is gonna be doing some sanding and basically grinding, getting all the gel coat out from underneath here where I'm gonna apply the fiberglass. Okay, so I've marked off my area here that I'm gonna be fiberglassing. And so it's about 12 inches, maybe 13 inches by about 3.5, maybe 4 going this way. A couple challenges just based on the research that I've done on fiberglassing, because again, this is the first time I've ever done it. Definitely not an expert on it, but based on my research, a couple challenges I'm gonna face. One is this angle here, because it's basically a 90-degree angle. But I do wanna lay some down on this edge here on the inside, because that will give this whole piece what would normally be a rub rail, it's gonna give it a lot more strength from bending if I can get a piece of glass in here instead of just relying on the horizontal surface and this piece over here. So I definitely want to try and lay some glass in here. We'll see how that goes. The other challenge that I guess I'm gonna face is gravity. So I'm gonna be wetting out the glass upside down, right? It's gonna be hanging down. And so gravity is going to want to pull that glass down, which potentially will pull air bubbles in between the layers of glass. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I don't mess it up. I'm almost done grinding off the gel coat, so just the white part is left. My Dremel tool, I killed the battery, so taking a little break and working on other projects while it recharges. Okay, when I started the grinding of the gel coat, I was using these Dremel sanding bands, and I was just going through them really fast because, you know, they're sandpaper. And so I switched to this cobalt sanding drum. So it's also a 60 grit. These are both 60 grit, but this thing just, you know, it doesn't wear. So it's a piece of metal, and it's been a great little workhorse for the grinding of the gel coat. Okay, so I'm all done grinding the gel coat off with my Dremel tool. And so these little white areas here are basically dips. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a little hand sanding, and then I'll clean it off with some acetone. Three pieces of glass cut. All right, so my first ever attempt at doing inner fiberglass work. I'm just waiting for this to cure. So I put 3 layers of glass on. I used about 20 ounces of resin. So I only did one mix. It's a very small spot. I was able to get all 3 layers on with the one mix. So you have like up to 12 minutes to work with this stuff. So I did it pretty quick. I am very glad that I bought the roller tool, because that was for the 2 edges. That was key. Like, there was no way to do that with a brush. So once this cures in 2 hours, then I'll come back and get rid of all these extra strands. That was something I definitely did not anticipate since I was working overhead. You know, all these strands are getting gooped up with the resin, and then, you know, they're getting real heavy, and so they're, you know, they're hanging down, they're sticking to your hand, you know, they're getting everywhere, they're getting on the tools. They were kind of getting in the way. So I just didn't anticipate that. That was a bit of a mess, but, you know, I just used some scissors, and, you know, as I was going, I was cutting the edges and cutting all these strands off. I left the ones over here So they're fine. There's not a lot of resin on them. And I'll be able to just either hack those off or maybe even sand. So we'll see how it looks. Okay, so the fiberglass has cured overnight. It's been almost 24 hours, so I'm excited to see how it's set up and if the deck, the gunnel, is nice and strong now. So let's check it out. Okay, so this right here is the area that I glassed yesterday. I let it cure overnight, and you can see it's nice and stiff. And so let's see, the real test is going to be, does the deck flex anymore? And no, not really. The whole boat's moving, but the deck is not flexing. So that's nice. It was mostly flexing down, and it wasn't so much flexing up. And so the strength that I really want, you know, I'm not worried about people stepping on the deck. I'm worried about the chain plates, being able to support the upward tension of the chain plate. And so having this piece below, actually in that direction, adds a lot of strength. So I'm pretty satisfied with this. I'm not gonna gel coat this. I'm gonna sand it lightly just to kind of, you know, feather it a little bit. I'm not gonna ferret, I'm not gonna gel coat it. I'm just gonna leave it like this and sail this season. And the reason for that is because, for one, I haven't even sailed this boat yet, so I don't know if I like this boat. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, but I need to get it on the water first and take it out. And then if I decide to keep it, if I really enjoy it, then my plan actually is to take the boat in and, you know, find a professional that can just redo the whole boat, all the fiberglass on the boat over the off season. And just, you know, I mean, it's going to cost some money, but it'll save me a ton of time and back pain and neck pain. And so that's my plan. If, you know, otherwise, you know, I'll probably just sell the boat as is if I decide that it's a death trap and I hate it. But I don't think that's going to be an issue. So I'm going to trim this fiberglass up. I'm going to do a little sanding to kind of blend it in. And then that's going to be it for this repair until the off season. And there's a couple places, one in Denver and one down in Pueblo, that can really do a great job on this boat. It definitely has a bunch of blemishes that need to get addressed and are just, you know, kind of beyond my skills. Definitely gel coat. I've never done gel coat. Yeah, I could maybe do like small, you know, filling things in, but, you know, redoing all of this work here, I think that's beyond my patience level and probably beyond my skills. So anyway. Okay, so that is it. I just did some just very light sanding just to kind of blend this a little bit, and then this edge so that it wasn't sharp right here. So sanded that pretty good, and you know, the rest of it, this is pretty rough, but I'm just gonna leave it because, like I said, I'm planning to take this boat to a professional fiberglass restoration expert, and I suspect they will redo a lot of this work. I just want to get it on the water for this season. So, and as you can see, it has a lot of blemishes, and there's a big patch on the other side of the boat as well, in the hull. So I've got the chain plate on here, and yeah, on to the next thing.